Hello, this is Freda and you're watching a new episode of Santa Filomena. This is the 10th episode already! Yay! Birthday cake, anyone? Or maybe champagne? Champagne. Let's have champagne. Okay, so in this episode, well, I can't tell much at the moment because I literally don't remember what happened. I only know I gave it the title El Dia de los Muertos because I've had lots and lots of deaths and I really didn't know how to deal with them. Since that episode, I installed a new, like, it's not a new mode, it's actually an old mode, which is called, I think I mentioned it before. It's no deaths, no garbage, no crime, or something like that. But as far as I am now in the game, which is like a few episodes after this one, it looks like the mod is dead. I mean, it doesn't seem to be working anymore, so I'm gonna have to find new solutions. But then at the same time, the death rate is much smaller than it is in this episode, where it's reached a peak. A peak, you would say, yeah, a peak. And why the title? And I thought it would be perfectly fitting as we are, as you may have noticed, in the Halloween period. So couldn't have had a better episode than this. At least the title. So I'm pretty much gonna rediscover the rest of what I did or didn't in this episode that I actually recorded quite a while ago. Seemingly still a few fires here and there, but much less apparently than in the previous episodes. Because this is the 10th one, I bought new tile at the beginning, and we are now expanding to the sandy area, which is gonna be the final destination, I would say, for the industries. Because from the beginning, as you saw the city expanding, or have not seen, for those who are just joining the series now, well, as the city was growing, because one of the golden principles of this series is to be buying a new tile at each episode, which is actually going to make a lot of episode at the end of it. I've been moving the industrial zones around, further and further away from the center, little by little. But this sandy area that I bought in this 10th episode, I had been thinking for a while would be the final place to have, and the best place actually in the whole map to have industries. So once we start putting industries there, they won't be moving anymore. Just have to move the ones that are currently in the violin district, which will eventually become more of a residential district, I guess, and then move all the stuff, all the industries into the sandy place, which I still haven't come up with a name for. So that's one of the things I'm gonna have to think about, where I am now in the game, which is further along in this. I also developed this new little quarter. I think maybe it's in this episode that I've started placing zones in there, because this area I bought a couple of episodes ago, and so it's mainly going to be a residential place with a few little shops, and that's it. I wanted this area to be quiet, because it's like kind of a narrow stretch of land. Well, not as narrow as the one you might remember. Well, I mentioned imagining uh, the houses to be like secondary residences um, and Airbnbs and stuff like that. This one is going to be a proper residential area, but a quiet one. Like people want to live uh, pleasantly and away from all the business of the city center while still being not very far from it. And the landscape of the place really is like suitable for it. So obviously I didn't want to have like another very busy part of the city in this area. And so I thought I would also develop and start putting roads and buildings in the island opposite this nice, quiet, new area with lots of pathways once again. Um, I really wanted it to give this like small island feeling, like atmosphere and maybe mentality that the people that live in places like that have. A good place for tourists as well. I tried to put a little harbor at some point. Yeah, to connect, obviously, to connect the island to the mainland. But the thing is, it took me a while to actually figure out the ferries routes. So it's only recently that I actually managed to do it, and so it's gonna be like for a couple of episodes, uh, something that I thought would be working, but I took time to realize it didn't. So yeah, it's gonna be like some ghost ferry harbors, ferry lines. Then, as you can see, I did spend quite some time on this island because you know the terrain is like hmm, not an easy one. You have like big hills and slopes. It's going up and down very abruptly. But the good thing is that when you build any kind of pathways or roads, it actually helps make the terrain friendlier to walk on, or ride on. I mean, drive on, obviously. So it's not as hard as it may seem, but still sometimes you have to rework with the terrain tool, which is really not my favorite one, probably because I'm not really good at it. You see me struggling with trying to repair some sinkholes that happened in previous episodes, and literally having to make an island disappear because it's I'm just not skilled at all with this kind of stuff in the game. Maybe I should have a look at some tutorials on YouTube to improve myself. And then I thought I would start to develop the new sandy area by putting a highway or motorway. The thing is, because I didn't want it to go across the city. I did it with like huge underground like tunnels to get to that part of the city to spare the trouble of like having a highway going through. Even though I totally could have, I mean, well, this would involve destroying quite a few districts that are now very well set and settled. So I I thought I might as well avoid this and just make it an underground highway because it would actually implicate so much change that I just didn't want to see happen to the way the city developed in the center, and plus having a highway going through the city is not that appealing, I would say, in terms of like urbanism aesthetics. So I did it like this. I could have like make it divert a little bit and maybe go through Dale, White Lane Dale, and then the violin. Um and it might still happen if I have lots of traffic problems in the future, because I already do have quite some issues with traffic in the busy places. But maybe I will do it, but at this point in time I thought this would be the best way, even though it looks a bit dodgy. I don't really like, well, that's not the part I'm most excited about. Uh, but then it could have been worse. Obviously, if I really wasn't satisfied with it, I would have just stopped and change and make some changes. But I guess it's fine the way I did it so far. I think I also put a couple of new roads down there to have more residential areas in this part of the city. And maybe I started to move, yes, I started to move the factories away from Palisandra, because Palisandra, no, it was Sycamore, sorry, Sycamore's district, Sycamore's industry, which, as I said for the violin earlier, isn't meant to be an industrial place forever, as I was starting to develop the sandy area. Took me quite a while to decide which interchange would be best for vehicles to get there, to arrive there, to stop there. And the thing is, I'm also thinking about extending the motorway to the like the right of the screen from where we're standing now, to go really across the stretch of sand and reach the opposite big islands on the other side. So I went with this one, and I'm not sure if I started to develop, no, because the square wasn't built yet. So in the next episode, I'm actually developing the highway to get to the other big islands across. sometimes you really need to be patient when you build roads in this game, because depending on the kind of land and soil you're building the roads on, it can be annoying. And as you can see there, it was the source of a river, so I really had to be careful in the way I dealt with it, which is a bit annoying because I didn't want to change so much the landscape and to kill the river either. I mean, to destroy the source. So that's why it took me a while to make it good. And that will be it for this 10th episode of Santa Filomena. As always, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get notifications about the next episode to come out very soon. And we'll see you very soon for new adventures. Bye bye!